Up to opening statement from Coach, and then we'll go to questions.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be home, that's for sure. I will say that overall, I think we had a semi-successful weekend down at Oklahoma. One, we didn't have any travel issues, so that was good. But it was a great test to play against Oklahoma, being the number one team in the country currently. It was really good experience for us all the way around, and it exposes what we need to work on. That we're going to have a great week of practice. I'm at the field right now. In the middle of working on some things, but I think it was a really, really good test for us to be able to see exactly what we need to do, where we need to go from here. And that's why you play some of the best teams in the country, because it'll expose you exactly where you're weak and what we need to improve on.
You can go to Natalie, then Colin.
Hey, Coach, we always talk about how great it is for you guys to play at the Mizzou softball stadium. How excited are for you guys to get back home and, open things up in Columbia?
I think it's exciting for everybody. First, our players to be able to stay in their own beds and start establishing a home game routine. But more importantly, it's so important for the community and our fans and our donors and season ticket holders. I mean, we had quite a few that traveled down to Oklahoma to watch us, and the same with South Alabama. But there's nothing like playing at home and having that MIZ chant, behind our dugout. So we're really looking forward to it, and hoping that the weather holds off, that we're able to get all our games in.
Coach, you touched on a little bit, but just what were some of the things that this weekend in Oklahoma taught you? Certainly the games against the Sooners, but also how you were able to handle business against the other teams you played and not allowing a run in those games.
I'll talk about the game against ULM on Sunday. I mean, putting up 20 runs, and I emptied the bench completely, and having kids come off the bench and competing and capitalizing on their opportunities was one of the most impressive things that I've ever seen. Riley Frizzell having 2 home runs in 1 inning. I mean, that does not happen, especially from a freshman. But, batting through the lineup is one thing, but having 2 home runs in the inning is another. I think Oklahoma in particular exposed to our pitchers. I thought the first game was pretty competitive. We didn't have a lot of offensive production, but, I thought Lauren Krings threw great being a freshman. She had some key swings and misses, key strikeouts. Her changeup was devastating. So that was really good to see. The thing that we need to continue to work on is sometimes pitchers need to realize that it's okay to throw a ball. Like we harp so much on getting first pitch strikes and attacking the strike zone and, not falling behind in the count. But when you have a hitting team like Oklahoma and you're so aggressive, that our pitchers need to realize that it's okay to throw a ball and try to get them to chase that ball. And if you do go 1-0, that's okay. So that's what they really learned from that. And then hitting wise, you can't hit everything. Like when you're facing an All-American, you can't try to hit every single pitch that they throw. And G. Juarez, she throws a curveball, a rise ball, has a great off speed, and we're trying to hit every single pitch, and then we're just working behind in the count. So being able to have a better, more disciplined approach.
Ben and Anthony.
Larissa, just kind of give us an idea of how high the confidence level is with your group, with the good start you've gotten off to, and how important it is to build that over the course of non-con, because obviously after the tournament, SEC's right around the corner.
I think and there was a video that was posted of Riley Frizzell's home run on social media, and in the bottom right corner, you can see the celebration in the dugout. Because we're not allowed to come on the field and celebrate those home runs anymore, but you could see kids coming out of the dugout. I mean, that is the energy that this team has, that everybody on the team, not only in our lineup, but on the bench, can come in and can hit the ball hard. And those balls that are being hit hard are traveling out of the ballpark right now, which is so exciting, which puts so much pressure on the opposing team. So yes, the confidence is very, very high. I think they're really enjoying playing with one another. The chemistry is outstanding. And that just really adds to the chemistry that you see on the field and the energy that they bring every single day.
Hey, Coach. Like you said earlier, hopefully the weather holds up. But is there a plan in place just in case that it doesn't, that you guys are still getting games in this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no clock, so we're going to continue to try to take care of the field, and we're going to tarp today after practice so that we're prepared. And if there's going to be a window, we know we can easily pull the tarp and play. The priority will be to try to get as many games as possible for the teams visiting. I mean, they're spending a lot of money to come into here, and we're going to make sure that we take care of them as much as we're going to take care of us, but trying to get as many games as possible and keep it fair and keep it equitable across the board. But we do have a contingency plan. If we do have to go and cut some games out, we'll go one game at a time just to make sure that everyone is getting a fair shot.
Go Colin and Natalie.
Yeah, Larissa, I'm curious. I know Kendall Bailey's bat has maybe been a little bit up and down in the time that you've been here, but did you see that home run that she hit against Oklahoma in the first game do anything for her confidence, kind of maybe get her back on the right track, or is she really kind of not focused on those, individual at bats?
I mean, she definitely is focused on her individual bats. She knows she's struggling. She's so valuable in the infield with her experience, especially with Jenna Laird being a freshman. Which is why she's in the lineup every single day. And I've had multiple conversations with her that I'm not going to give up on her, that she needs to continue to be competitive. She knows she hits the highest level of pitching. Like, she knows that when they're throwing up around upper 60s and 70, that's when she's on time. She struggles when they're throwing in the 50s. So it's just being able to have that same mentality when she's facing slower pitching that she does when she's facing those flamethrowers. But again, her work ethic is unbelievable. She just got to really trust her preparation a little bit more and not panic. If you were to look at her bats, like, she doesn't swing and miss. She's not chasing the ball out of the zone. She's almost too safe trying to put it in play rather than really trusting that someone who is throwing 58 to 62 isn't going to throw it past her.
Coach, you mentioned confidence. I'm curious what it does for you guys. And you guys have had some big tests early in the season. UCF, obviously, Oklahoma, and even getting an SEC game in there with Ole Miss. What does that do for your confidence, especially with conference play right around the corner as it is?
So going into this season, one of our goals is to host regionals. And in order for us to host regionals, we need to be in the top 16 in the country in RPI. And the way we're going to get in the top 16 is winning non-conference games. We know our conference schedule is going to be very, very competitive. Everybody beats each other up. But in order to have that RPI that's going to put us in that situation, we got to go out and we got to play the most competitive non-conference schedule, and we got to win those games. So that's been our focus in giving us the opportunity to host, because we want regionals to be back in Columbia. We want to be able to put on an NCAA tournament for our fans. And that's really our number one focus. So going into that, we are playing every single game, same mentality as we had last year. It's a championship game. We're focusing on winning. I'm managing to win. Yes, I'm leaving some pitchers in to be able to create some experience. But again, we want to make sure we're putting our best team on the field to give ourselves an opportunity to win. And the team knows that. They know they need to show up every single day. We're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. We were not picked last in the SEC. So we're not going to be that game that other teams might think is just going to be a throwaway game. They know they're going to get our best, and we're going to get everybody's best.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, Coach, I know you said before the year you were maybe going to, figure out with the pitching staff if you were going to use the same sort of bullpen style thing you had last year, if it was going to be one or two girls that could maybe pitch complete games. I'm just curious, when you're looking at who's going to start, what are the sort of matchups or indicators in an opposing lineup you're looking at, or is it mostly internal with how you guys want to play defense against a team or something like that?
So having one lefty on the lineup, I do look with Emma Nichols. I'm looking at the opposing lineup and if they have a lot of lefties, because I know that's a good matchup for Emma. If the team does not have a lot of lefties, then Emma's not going to be good in that starting role. She'll be a better reliever. And the reverse is opposite for Megan Schumacher. Megan Schumacher, I believe the opponent's batting average for righties is 148. So if there's a lot of righties, I know Megan Schumacher is going to be much more successful versus a lot of lefties. So it's trying them in different roles, with Schumacher and Krings throwing so hard, and they're topping out at 70, 71. I know they're a great complement to Jordan, Sophie, and Emma, who are throwing in the low 60s. So that's how I'm trying to figure out the best matchups. When I'm scouting on a team and I have two drop ball pitchers in Emma and Sophie. Schumacher will throw a drop and also throw a rise, and Krings and Jordan are all rise ball. So when I'm watching opponents and I'm watching their swings, I'm trying to visualize who is going to be the most successful pitcher to beat this team. So if the opponent's swing and their bat path is working on top, I know a drop ball pitcher is going to be very successful versus someone who's always dropping the bat head down. Now I know a rise ball pitcher is going to be successful. So that's how I'll initiate who's going to start. And then I'll always work with the opposite to have someone who's coming in for relief. So if it's Jordan and Krings, then I'm going to follow with a drop ball pitcher to kind of throw the batters off balance and have to make better adjustments. I think when you're talking about relief pitching, when you look at that UCF game in utilizing 3 different pitchers and then having Emma come in to close, and I talked to their coach, Cindy Ball, after the game, and she's like, we knew exactly what we were going to do. We knew you were going to bring in Emma Nichols. This is the machine we set up, and we couldn't make the adjustment because it's so hard for a hitter to make that adjustment as fast as they're asking to make it, going from a rise ball pitcher to a lefty drop.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Thanks, y'all. See you next week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Coach.
everyone.